It talks with Rain and Lee, where we talk motherhood, faith, love, and hope.
Do not cast your pearls before swine. What does that mean? What is the meaning? To preference it, the Lord has been teaching me a few things about what He means in my season now, in my season that I'm in currently. And a lot of it has to do with relationships and me continuously overgiving, never receiving anything back, not even loyalty back from these people. Um, not even receiving, just somebody sticking up for the character that I've consistently shown. And it even makes me kind of question my character. But anyway, I've realized that I've done things for people who were not even my friend. They say it with their mouth, but there had never been any proof that they were truly actually my friend. And if I'm being real, I think that they were seeing that I was their friend, but they were never my friend. And when I'm saying that, because if you are my friend and we met each other through somebody else, if I fall out with that person, there should never be a moment where we should fall out. You should be strong enough to be like, hey, listen, y'all ain't friends, but that doesn't mean it has anything to do with me. And that's the type of person I've always been. So it's disheartening to receive the opposite from other people. I haven't been like a perfect friend because sometimes I have an attitude issue, or I like have an avoidant issue with trying to confront somebody about how do just confronting people about issues. Like, that's one thing I say. But with this, I didn't have none of these issues with this person, these people, really. But recently, a few years ago, I found myself doing for people monetary wise, trying to be there. And granted, they've done some things for me, but I was really doing, and they did for others in the group, because that was really who their friend was and where their heart was. So when I fell out with one, now the whole group has an issue with me. And I recently walked past one of them in the store, because I just deleted a few of them, because I know some of them had their loyalty to the person, because they had been friends for years. But this other person, she didn't. And so she just walked past me in the store like she didn't know me. And I was like, since when did we have an issue? I don't have an issue with you. And it just is disheartening to know that you've done stuff for people that they said they would pay you back from. But I guess because we not talking, they felt like they didn't have to. Never seen the money. And honestly, I didn't care that I never seen the money at first. But now that we're not friends, I do kind of care. And so, with being said, I've noticed more bitterness in my giving. I have so much free range on giving that I don't have anymore. Like, the way that I've gotten so selfish and self-centered with giving, because of how much I've given and never received anything back. And like, it's weird to say this because I don't necessarily expect exactly back what they gave, but there is a point in me that kind of did expect some form of loyalty, or at least care about me when I gave to these people. But because I didn't really realize that that was not my friend, I didn't give the person time. I didn't give the person character review. I mean, I even remember the person that she's loyal to now, saying something on her character that I was like, no, that doesn't even sound like her. Because I'm such a pattern person. I pay attention to the type of person that people are. Like, she was a giver. So when someone was trying to say she wasn't a giver, or she was doing something, or just meaning what she didn't, I stuck up for her. Right. And to not receive it in return, it just is disheartening. But once again, I am casting my pearls, which is my loyalty. Um, that does not include any type of monetary gift, because really it was the principle of the matter that I was trying to do with other stuff. And like, hey, I know you got me, but she didn't have me. And I just feel like that strongly, like she didn't have me. And for me, I realized that it was making me bitter. And it's also making me not trust women. So really, like, it's so hard for me to talk about this subject. Really, right now in this season, God is showing me what true friendship looks like. And in that, I am kind of holding up a mirror to myself and seeing that there were some things that I held that was true friendship. However, I realized that a lot of that stuff was given to the wrong people. So now that, and so this, I don't know how to say this without just making excuses for myself, but I'm not trying to make excuses. But holding up a mirror, I'm seeing that maybe some of these people probably went through the same thing, and this is why they have shown the same type of you just carefulness around friendships and not really being as open to making new friendships as I was back then. I was just really open. Like if I had a friend and they had a friend, I was really open to them. And now I'd have to say, I cannot say that that's how I feel. Like it's scary for me, to be honest, to um try to make friendships right now. Like it's truly scary. Like I don't trust a soul. Like I truly don't. Like I wish I could say that I did, but I really don't trust people as much anymore because I have given so much of my pearls to people who didn't realize how much love I really had for them and didn't realize that I would never do some of the things that I was accused of because it's just not in my character. And so then it had me questioning my own character. Like, am I really the person who I set out to be? And in that, now I can see that bitterness changing me into the type of person that I wouldn't even be friends with. So, and in actuality, in fact, I believe that this is a warning to those who are very kind, very nice, very forgiving, um, and empathetic. And you love to make excuses for people's behavior. Do not cast your pearls against swine. Some people will not be able to love you the way that you love them. Some people will not be able to give you back what you give, and you cannot change them. Trying to change them, you will change yourself into the type of person that you didn't like. And that's why the Lord has other things. Guard your heart. You know, that we are to be kind to others, but we are not supposed to be a friend of everybody. There should be a vetting process in friendship like there is a vetting process in relationships. You cannot continuously keep giving to people who aren't even on your same level of giving, because it will change you and transform you without you even realizing it. There's just so many gems in the Bible about this. For instance, we got the other one, which is um uh I think it's bad character corrupts good character. Um Man, I should probably be having these written down. But it's all right, so it is, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. And yeah, like You be trying to hang out like, well, Jesus hanged out with sinners. It's like, yeah, Jesus was planting seeds and then he left. Those were not his closest companions who he was with. If they do not match and everything they're saying is the opposite of you, leave the environment. And what happens with people who are very empathetic, who are think so much about others, is that you give so much of a benefit of the doubt that before you know it, you have become another extension of these people. And then you won't even recognize yourself. And because the Lord loves us, he will allow these people to hurt you so that you'll leave the situation. And now you got to rebuild what God had already rebuilt in you. And I'm speaking from experience because this has happened to me many times. And the sick part about it is that these people at the beginning, they know how good you are, but they will skew who you are. And you'll, like, for me, I really had to be like, am I really like this? But then these same people, they're eager to come back in your life. So it's like, well, why would you want to be with somebody who you believe this about? So it starts to not make sense. And now your identity is based on these people, you know, because you did not realize the pearls you had. And some of us, we do realize that, but we don't realize the value in it. And um because we're lonely, because we are codependent people that need people um, for validation, for love, for somebody to hang out with, somebody to do whatever. It's usually out of loneliness that we kind of give to somebody what we were supposed to keep to ourselves until God releases us to give it to the person that he so chooses us to do life with. And we don't submit our friendships to the Lord. Like, we don't submit that to the Lord for him to affirm if this person is even supposed to be in our lives. And when we don't do that, we then corrupt in us what God wanted to develop in us. And I hope I'm making sense, because in a roundabout way, I have literally chosen people over God so much. And I realized that I loved people over God. And of course, I talked about it in people pleasing, but all of it kind of coincides. It all is like a domino effect. Um, and this is one of them. When you are a people pleaser or just somebody that's lonely, you will attract the worst because your desperation, I don't know what it is. It's like a signal in our souls that we're lonely, where we attract those who are just as desperate as us to have someone around them for the same validation, but in a different form. And it's usually takers, people who take, and they never really realize that they need to give it back. Because I don't want to paint people as like an evil person all the time. I think there's a lot of people that are just in survival mode, and they don't really realize that they are draining you without giving you anything back, because you never asked for it back either. Because a lot of times when you are this type of person, you're too scared to ask for it back. But the other side of that is assuming they'll give it back, is, I believe, emotional and mental suicide. Like, you're literally draining and killing your spirit, your mind, your body, your soul, because all of it, just everything is so connected. Um, because you're wanting something back that you never really, like, tried to see if they could even have the capacity to give it to you back, because they're in survival mode. People in survival mode who do not depend on Jesus for their joy, for their forgiveness, for their everything, like, we are supposed to depend on him. They can't give it back to you. They don't have it to give. And what you'll realize is that when you're giving and giving and giving and giving, and you stop seeking Jesus, the Lord, the Holy Spirit for your replenish, you can't give it back to others either. So there's an accountability that we need to have, which is we need to make sure we are vetting who we give our pearls to. Everybody doesn't get it. Everybody gets kindness, everybody gets respect, but everybody does not give access to some of the most gentle parts of us, or just even listening to somebody. Like if the Lord puts it on your heart to listen to somebody, okay, but you are not supposed to be draining yourself trying to play savior and try to be there for everybody, because if they're not there for you, you will begin to get bitter. And we don't need that. Like, we are to be in the Lord's presence, and also he will send us others who we can depend on, and then they can depend on us in the same sense or form of counselship, of friendship, etc. But given those beautiful pearls, because the way that I have given loyalty, and I want to say woe is me sometimes because it hurts my heart, but there is a little bit of there is a lot, not a little bit. And if you could tell, I'm still working on my accountability and everything, because I know there's more into it, but this is just what I just thought of while I'm listening to somebody else's podcast about friendship. Because this topic, since I could remember, um I've had people on this very gentle part of my heart who in 2 seconds have changed on me to make me feel like I'm either an enemy or a stranger. And it's confusing for me because I still have them in that spot where they're like a very gentle part in my heart, and that has made me bitter. That has made me so bitter, simply because I feel foolish for trusting somebody with that gentle part of my heart who never showed me one sign that they should be trusted with that gentle part of my heart. And the Lord is still taking me through a process and a pruning season in this season of my life, where I have to be very, very gentle with who gets to be a part of my life, who gets to have my vulnerabilities. Because I also have people who I give those vulnerabilities to and they throw it back in my face. And I feel once again foolish for even letting them know anything about me. And sometimes these people can fool you because they'll tell you stuff too about themselves, but really it's very controlled about what they're really sharing, unless they're probably drunk or something like that with a lot of these people who I'm describing. But other than that, they're very careful with who they give their information to. So I say all that to say, be gentle with who you give your vulnerabilities to. In 2012 or 13, somebody said to me, vulnerability is a gift. And over the course of like 14 years, I can't believe that's 14 years ago. It's just not 14. Yep, 14 and cheese. 14 years, 13 to 14 years ago. That is when I started to share my gift, because I wasn't really that vulnerable with everybody, and I didn't even know what it felt like or meant to be. But over the last 13, 14 years, I had just been giving it away. And I don't know for sure, but I'm sure that a lot of people are laughing at my vulnerabilities when I'm not there, because we're not friends anymore, which is sick, because I would never do that to someone. When somebody's vulnerable with me, I just really try to treat that as a gift. But everybody's not like that. Just like there's a lot of men who they are not vulnerable at all, but when they finally are, and then a woman takes that, even a man, you know what I mean, like a friend of theirs, and they throw it back in their faces, they're not able to be vulnerable again. It's the same thing in gentleness. And we have to be sure we are vetting these people to completion, that they even deserve that amount of vulnerability from us. Some people absolutely don't deserve a they absolutely don't deserve any type of vulnerability from us because they never have shown that they can hold um that type of vulnerability or gift. Also, all you got to do is pay attention to how they treat other people's vulnerabilities, because some of these people, I've been in the same room as they make fun of somebody else's vulnerability, and um I'm not going to go too much into it, but long story short, it was actually kind of sick the way that, they kind of I don't want to say made fun of, but treated this person's vulnerability when they opened up, when they were talking about something. And it just, I mean, even if somebody makes me mad, if they had something happen to them that was traumatic, I'm not gonna say, I don't know how many times she's gonna tell that same story. It just was so unempathetic. And the thing about it is that this person has told this, when something traumatic happened to them, they tell the same story over and over again. Like, how just it was a turn on for me. So that should have been my cue that that's not the type of person I should have been sharing my gifts with at all. And now I'm like seeing the pattern on the type of people I don't want to share my gifts with. um I'm going to be moving more diligently, but my problem is it almost feels like everybody, like, oh, I can't talk to anybody, like y'all all are, not really my cup of tea to share my vulnerabilities with. And that's a prayer that I've been praying, is that the Lord sends me the right people in my life, and that I recognize the wrong people right away and let them down gently. Because one thing that I realize is that the wrong people have always sought me out. And I just accepted it because I was just so desperate to have friendship and have companionship in friendships, just as like relationships, romantic relationships. But now, like, Lord, I am picky, okay? Because I know I have the type of loyalty and I drop everything for like my friends. That's another thing that you got to be careful on doing too. Boundaries. You have to hold boundaries. So anyway, that was longer than I thought it was going to be, but just putting your pearls before swine, allowing bad character, I mean, bad company to just mess up who God's trying to, um, you know, develop you as. Yeah, we have to be very, very diligent and careful in doing that. So anyway, that was all. I didn't even think I said welcome back or anything. But anyway, that's all I had to say. So you go ahead and subscribe, like. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Oh, share, like I said, subscribe, like, comment if you have had any struggles with friendships and what the Lord is telling you in this season. Deuces.